Hi, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to show you how I created a shirt dress block pattern with a two-piece collar. So I have a shirt dress design to make next week, so I'm going to be using this shirt dress block pattern to create the look. So get your drafting material ready and let's get started. So these are the measurements I will use and more. So let's get your pattern paper ready and let's dive in. So I'm going to start by creating a structure on my pattern paper. I normally do that so I don't have to draft at the edge in case if I have to like add a little bit of adjustment or ease or anything. So for this shirt dress block pattern, I am going to be marking out 3 inches because I'm going to be using some of those inches for my button, my button band. I'm also going to do the same thing for the top, but I'm going to use my steel ruler. It's just like marking out 1 inch. So I'm going to use my steel ruler to like create the structure on the top of the pattern paper. I'm going to start by creating the neck. My neck is 13 inches. To get the width of my neck, I'm going to divide that 13 inches by 4. While to get the length, I will divide the 13 inches by 5. So I would use my measuring tape to do the division. So you can use your phone calculator or you can use your calculator, whatever you have, but I like using my tape to divide. Like I said earlier, the length of the neck is the neck measurement divided by 5, while the width is the neck measurement divided by 4. So you mark out your length, the length of your neck, then you connect the points that's creating a rectangle. I'm going to include little guidelines to create the neck curve. From the neck length, you go in 1/2 inch, while from the neck width, you go in 1/4 inch, as 1/4. Then you connect these points to create your neck curve. You can use a French curve or your freehand. It's time to create the armhole. So I'm going to mark on my back width, which is 16 inches divided by 2, so that's 8 inches. I'm just going to mark that down. Next, I'm going to mark on my armhole depth. My armhole depth is 8.5 inches plus my shoulder slant. To get my shoulder slant, I'm going to divide my back width divided by 10, which is 1.6 inches. So I'm going to be using like 1.5 inches for my slant. So that is 8.5 inches plus 1.5 inches, that's 10 inches. So I'm going to be marking 10 inches for my armhole depth because I'm going to be taking out the 1.5 inches for my slant. Next, I'm going to draw lines to connect the back width to the armhole depth point. Next, I'm going to mark out my bust measurement. That's 1/4 of my bust measurement, which is my bust divided by 4. So all these measurements are needed to create the armhole curve. Next, I marked my shoulder slant, which is 1.5 inches, and connected that point to the neck. Next, I'm going to get the midpoint of the armhole depth, that is without the shoulder slant. Then on the point, I'm going to mark 1/4 inch in, that's 1/4 inch inside. Next, I'm going to mark 1 inch on the armhole depth line upwards. Then these are just guidelines to create the armhole curve. Then connect all those points starting from the shoulder slant, then to the 1.4, then to the 1 inch, then to the bust point. Next, I'm going to mark out my shoulder to waist and my shoulder to hip. My shoulder to waist is 16 inches. My shoulder to hip is 25 inches. So I'm just going to mark that and square that out. Next, I'm going to mark quarter of my waist measurement and quarter of my hip measurement. That is my waist divided by 4 and my hip divided by 4. So I'm just going to mark down the waistline and the hip line. Next, I create the shape of the shirt dress by connecting all the points, that is from the armhole depth to the waist, then from the waist to the hip, then from the hip to the length of the pattern paper, which is length of the shirt dress. It's time to mark the button band. The button band usually when drafting a pattern is 1 inch, but I'm going to be using 2 inches because I don't want to add an additional fabric. Sometimes I forget to cut 2 inches. So because I don't want to add additional fabric while folding, so I'm just going to mark out the 2 inches for the button band. I'm going to fold to 1 inch. So yeah, I think that's all for the front shirt dress block pattern. This is just a basic pattern, there's nothing added. So I'm going to use this front pattern to create the back pattern, then adjust the neck and the armhole. So watch. Before tracing, I folded the band, the button band, because we don't need the button band for the back pattern. So I folded the button band and place on the new pattern paper, then trace with my tracing wheel, then use my pencil to make the lines visible. I marked 1 inch down for the back neck length, then connect to the width. For the armhole, I went up half an inch, and this varies depending on your bust measurement. So I recreated my curve that's connecting the shoulder to the bust, creating a new armhole curve. I'm done creating the back pattern. I just label and cut the front and back patterns. It's time to create the two-piece collar. So the measurement I'll need for the two-piece collar is the back width, that's the front and the back measurement. Then I need the collar stand, the collar fall, and the gap. So I'm going to be using the standard measurement. So for the collar stand, I will need 1 inch. For the collar fall, 1.5 inches, that's 1.5 inches. Then for the gap, 0.5 inches. So everything sums up to 3 inches for the collar stand, collar fall, and the gap. So why for the back, for the neck width, I'm going to get the measurement for my pattern pieces. That's for my front and back patterns. So I don't need the band yet, because the band is 1 inch, like I said when drafting. So I just need, you see the way I'm taking the measurement. So you just bend your tape measure and you take your back and you continue with that where you stop and take the front measurement without the band, because the band is 1 inch. We're going to include the band, but just take it without the button band, because the button band is 1 inch. As you can see, the total of my neck weight is 81/4. You get a new pattern paper, or you get the leftover from the front and back pieces, anyone, then you fold, because we're going to be drafting in fold. Next, I drew a line on the bottom of the pattern paper because I don't want to draft on the edge of the pattern paper. So it's just the same thing I always say, I don't like drafting at the end in case if I have to put anything or do anything, or if it's not straight and all those things. Next, I marked out my neck width, which is 8/1/4, then label back at the folded side, then front at the other side. Next, I marked out the 3 inches. That's for the color 4 color stand and gap. I marked it out at the front side. Then I also marked that same 3 inches at the back. Then connect the 2 points, creating a rectangle. Next, I marked out 1/3 of my neck width. So my neck width divided by 3, I marked that out from the front part down to the back. So I marked that out, placing my measuring tape from the front to the back. Then mark that up also at the top of the line, then you connect the points. Next, I marked out the collar stand. The collar stand is 1 inch, so I just marked that out the front and also at the back, and connect the 2 points. Next, I included my button band 1 inch and squared that up to the collar length. I also extended the collar stand line to the button band. Next, from the button band down, I went up 1/4, then connected that 1/4 to the 1/3 of the neck width. If you're a little bit confused, just do what you see on the screen. First practice, second practice, third practice, you get a hang of it. To create the collar stand curve, I marked the midpoint of the band, that's the button band, that is 1/2 inch. Also, I marked 1.4 inch from the already slanted line. This is just a guideline to create the curve. So I marked 1.4 inch, then I created the curve connecting the 2 points. Just take your time here and create a perfect, nice collar stand curve. Now I'm going to create the colorful, the pointy design for the colorful. So I'm going to mark out some guidelines. Still on the button band, I'm going to mark out 3/4 inch, and I'm going to go up 1/2 inch. Then connect that point down to the collar stand, that the midpoint of the collar band, the midpoint of the cotton band. So just mark that and go up 1/2 inch. Then connect that 1/2 inch to 1/3 of the neck width. As you can see, the colors are coming together. So next move is to create the gap. So the gap is 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to mark the 1/2 inch and connect that point all the way to the meeting point of the 2 colors. This is a basic color, so if you want to create any design, all you need to do is just to adjust this basic color. If you want the color for too pointy, or you want the length big, or you want the color stand the length big, you can just make the adjustment here. For the gap, I am going to curve it a bit. So this is basically it for the basic 2-piece collar and the shirt dress. I'll be making use of this pattern in my next tutorial to create a shirt dress. So stay tuned, watch my next tutorial. Please, if you enjoyed my video, please like and share. It will make me happy. So thank you so much for staying tuned and watching, and also turn on your post notification for my next video. So enjoy. Bye.